The next generation of gaming is finally here. However, these new systems aren't cheap and you want to make sure you get the most for your investment. Today, I'm going to help you decide between the GeForce 3070, Xbox Series S, Series X, and the PlayStation 5 so that way you get what's right for you. Let's get into it. Hi, welcome to Pixel Codex. My name is Remington Keller. Here we help you rediscover your childhood love of video games, learn about new games you missed over the years, and the best way to play them today. If that sounds cool to you, please consider subscribing and hit that bell so you always get notified anytime a new video comes out. Every time new systems are about to come out, it's always like a mini Christmas for gamers. However, with new systems comes a lot of choice. So this fall, there's about 5 or 6 options. It's not like back in the day where you had the choice between Super Nintendo or a Genesis. But I'm gonna break it down for you. Make sure to stay to the end or I give you my personal picks on the best way to future-proof yourself. The first system that we're gonna talk about is the Xbox Series S. Now before it got announced, I was actually a little down on the system, but now after seeing all the specs and hearing about it, I'm actually pretty excited. I think it's gonna be a great choice for a lot of people. So honestly, for the price, it's a super powerful system. $300, you can play 1440p. It's basically a lower powered Xbox Series X. You got ray tracing, all those great features for a very affordable price. If you don't care about discs, you don't care about physical copies, then it's perfect for you. If you only have a 1080p TV, even better, you're set. If you don't plan on buying a 4K TV, or even if you do and you don't want to spend the money, if playing at 4K doesn't matter to you, I think this will be a great choice. And I know there's going to be a lot of people who say, oh, the Xbox One X is way more powerful, but the thing you have to realize, it's a totally different architecture, it's brand new, way better. It has an SSD. The fact that it is an SSD alone is so much better than a standard hard drive. If you've ever tried it on your PC and you try to boot up an old PC, it takes like 30 seconds. You turn on SSD, about 7 seconds. There's no comparison. Now, the one issue that a lot of people aren't talking about is even though it's 1440p, which is cool, it's better than 1080p, the issue is a lot of TVs, they don't support it. So like my TV, I have a 4K OLED. It goes either 1080p or 4K. It doesn't support anything in the middle, which is a problem if you're trying to play a computer game. So a lot of TVs, they don't even support this, which means if you have a 4K TV, try to upscale it to 4K, which isn't great, or it'll downsample it to 1080p, which is better, but it's still not a native resolution, so it's not as good. It's definitely better than nothing. And for me, the most important thing, the one thing that Xbox does an amazing job at is backwards compatibility. So if you're a fan of Xbox, you want to play all those old games, you'll be able to play the original Xbox, Xbox 360, Xbox One. A good amount of them are enhanced. You can play them in 4K. It's great. So if you want to play Crimson Skies, the original Ninja Gaiden, you're set. So if you're just an Xbox gamer, you want to play those old games, you want to be able to play new games, you don't particularly care about 4K or even have a TV, I think for the price and what it does, this is a great choice. If you're an Xbox guy, you want all that stuff, but you want, on paper, the most powerful system you can get, definitely go for the Series X. It's got a disc drive, you can buy physical copies, play those Blu-rays, and for multi-platform games, it'll probably play them the best out of all the systems. For this generation, Microsoft is pushing really hard to get a lot of first-party and second-party developers, so there's going to be a lot of cool exclusive games just for the Xbox. The Xbox Series X is releasing on November 12th for $500. Next, we got PlayStation 5. I've been a huge fan of Sony ever since the first PlayStation. I've had all of them since, same with Xbox. So why would you want to get a PlayStation 5 over the Xbox Series X? Sony always has by far the best console exclusives. You get God of War, The Last of Us, Uncharted, all that good stuff. So if you want to play the new God of War, you have to have a PlayStation. Gran Turismo, same thing, exclusive. So many good games that are just on the PlayStation. It's going to have amazing graphics, this awesome new controller with haptic feedback where you feel if you're driving over mud as opposed to sand. This crazy new SSD architecture that according to every developer is a game changer. So if you're a Sony fan, easy decision, get the PlayStation 5. Now, depending on if you want the physical disc, watch 4K Blu-rays, that's going to determine if you get the all digital edition or the normal PlayStation 5. The PlayStation 5 is going to be $500 and the digital version is $400. So in a nice middle ground right between the two Xbox. Finally, we come to the GeForce 3070. Now, why would somebody want to get this? Every time a new generation of consoles come out, they're essentially a mid-range PC. So this new generation is super excited because this is the first time ever that they have brand new comparable PC part. And the new graphics card that it's using, those aren't even out yet for PC. So it's super exciting, but I'd say overall, even with all that, it's going to be the equivalent of a higher end mid-range PC. So the new consoles are coming out, they're going to be the best they've ever been, and the developers will definitely take advantage of that. But even with all that, you can't compare it to a dedicated PC part. After you add in the processor, the memory, the motherboard, the hard drive, gaming PCs can easily get to $2,000. So there's no possible way a console can compare to a $2,000 PC. The graphics card alone is the same price as the entire Xbox. One of the features I was talking about before, ray tracing, was essentially pioneered by NVIDIA. So the next generation of AMD graphics cards is going to have its own version of ray tracing, but it's been out on GeForce for about 2 years now. They pretty much got it down pat. So I would put my money on NVIDIA having the better version of it. On top of that, the 3070 is basically the equivalent of a GeForce 2080 Ti. Now, when this came out 2 years ago, the card sold for over $1,000. Usually, even now, it goes for like upwards of $1,200. So the fact that you can get a $1,200 card equivalent for $500 is just nuts. If you're a PC gamer, easy decision. Get the GeForce. Especially if your graphics card's over 3 years old, it's going to be a game changer. It's got ray tracing, all those cool new features, the equivalent of a 2080 Ti. It's such an amazing deal for a graphics card. Something else to factor in, if you do editing, graphical design, any kind of work on your PC, the 3070 is going to be a great choice, especially if you want to play some games on the side. The one thing that sucks about all these new systems is honestly, there's not enough hard drive space. The Xbox Series S only has 512 gigabytes. That's absolutely nothing. With games these days taking upwards of 100 gigabytes to install, there's no way that's going to last. You can fit, what, 5 games on one hard drive? That's crazy. Even the Series X only has a terabyte, and the PlayStation 5 has under a terabyte. Those things are going to fill up so fast, and it's going to be super annoying. And the thing about this is, honestly, these systems aren't out yet, so there's not really a good comparison with hard data of how much it actually matters, how good they perform. Once they come out and people start benchmarking, then you can actually have real comparisons. All right, so what do I personally recommend? Xbox Series S, it doesn't have a disk drive, so for me, it's out right there. Also, it's not 4K, it's not the most powerful. Same thing with the PS5 Digital Edition. It doesn't have a disk drive, I love physical games, so it's not gonna be for me. Now, Xbox Series X. I'm gonna pass on this as well at first because I've still got my Xbox One X. It plays all the old school Xbox games, 360 games, upscaled to 4K, so I'm all good on the backwards compatibility part. Even though most probably it's gonna be the most powerful out of the consoles, but for me, right now, that doesn't matter, and I'm gonna tell you why. For the past few years, Microsoft has been promoting crossplay on the Xbox and the PC. So the majority of Xbox exclusives are also out on PC. And for me, the one game that's ensured I've always bought an Xbox to play has been Halo. Now that they've announced Halo Infinite is coming out to the PC, for me, there's no point even having an Xbox. Unless you want to play those old school Xbox exclusives. So I'm definitely going to get a PS5 so I can play all those Sony exclusives. And honestly, for me, next year when they bring out the Super Edition, I want to get the upgraded graphics card, the 3080 Super. That way I know I'll have a better chance at being future-proofed against the Pro upgrades of the consoles. You know they're going to bring out a PS5 Pro, an Xbox Series XX or whatever. I only upgrade my PC once every 5 years or even longer. So for me, I want to make sure that that investment is going to last for a while. In addition to that, I'm waiting for the Switch Pro to get upgraded. I'm gonna get that too. So I'll have a sick PC so I can edit, play all the exclusive games, the Xbox games, PlayStation 5, and the Switch Pro. I think with all that, I'll be covered for everything. If I had to choose right now, I would get a PS5 for all the Sony exclusives, and I'd get the GeForce 3070s. That way I get to do all my editing or whatever else I want on the PC, get to play some PC gaming on the side, and play all those Xbox exclusives. If you want to learn more about PS5 or Xbox Series X and see some of the cool games that are coming out for each of them, check out these videos over here. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, have a good one.